All right, there we go. All right, welcome to our hiring session. So we're going to go over a couple of things about hiring today. Hiring can be kind of complex in the district, and we'll be talking more than outside of this and one-on-one about your hiring process and things of that nature. But hopefully tonight we'll give you a great what to look for, what's coming down the pike, and hopefully be a big help for you. So hiring season in the city usually starts in May. It's already started right now. This is the earliest that the district has started hiring season. It started a couple weeks ago in April, early April. This season will go, most seasons go into August and into September if needed. And so some of you that have welcome calls with me have heard me talk about hiring season and things of that nature. There's a lot of different waves. So like, even if you're not in the beginning, there's different waves of when schools hire. They hire towards the end of the school year, in the middle of the summer, at the end of other teacher contracts. So don't worry if you're not at the beginning of the hiring season. That doesn't mean that all the good jobs are gone at the beginning of the hiring season. It just is the start of the process, and there are plenty of jobs to go around. I will note this year has been the most need for teachers outside the pandemic and other things of being in person again, and extra funding going to schools for teachers. The field for teachers this year in Baltimore is wide. And so they're in a deficit need of teachers. So, which translates well for our residents to be able to get positions this year. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. Two important things I want to highlight, and they may seem contradictory to what I'm going to say, but they are both equally very, very true. The first thing I have on here is the hiring process in city schools is turbulent. If you've ever worked in a government or worked with a government agency, gone to get your license or anything like that, you know it can be maddening dealing with red tape, processes, government issues, things of that nature. District applying for a position in the district is no exception, and may be even more turbulent because it is a position, a job. So there's more red tape and more things that may or may not make sense, but you have experienced staff helping you in the process. I'm the primary experienced staff. I've been working with the district for almost 5 years now. And so I'm here to help guide you, give you information. Residents like Brittany, you'll meet a lot of our coaches and staff. They are all teachers in the Baltimore system or have some connection, and you have either gone through the process or have intimate knowledge of the process and working with teachers and principals and things of that nature. And during the school year, a lot of our coaches help connect our residents with their school leaders and other school leaders that they know. So it is a crazy process to go through. I'm going to acknowledge that up front, and so that you're not surprised when there are really weird things that happen. But there's experienced staff. We've been able to go through this for years now. The other thing that may seem contradictory, but is also true, is BCTR. We've been in position in the district for over 20 years. Every year for the past 20 years, we've been able to place 100% of residents into positions that pass the pre-service training. So anyone that's passed and wants a position, we've been able to place those people into positions every year. This year, even more so because of the deficit of teachers that are needed this year. So let those two things sit in your brain for a second, but those things are totally true. It is a turbulent situation, but we've been able to place 100% of people that pass each year. So as a team, we are not so much focused on getting you a job or concerned about getting you a job, because we're 100% sure we'll get you placed. We want to make sure you're in the right place. And that is going to be a lot of what we're going to talk about. And a lot that we try to instill in you, because it is a change. Some of you are changing careers. This coming in teaching that you may not know a lot about. And you may want to just jump at a job, but we want you to know that there's some other options and that we want you to be in the best place possible. One of the things that are going to happen to kind of help you be ready for hiring that everyone will do, whether you've got an interview or ready to hire or not, is district processing. District processing is just when the district goes over all the information that they need for you to know to hire. So all your paperwork, tax things, they'll go over benefits, sign you up for 401ks and all those things, life insurance. And then the other thing that you'll do is a fingerprinting session. So the first part of just kind of reviewing dockets, it's going to be actually a virtual session that you'll do during orientation. The fingerprinting in-person time, you have to be in person for those. And I'm working with the district now to set up times where you can apply for an appointment to go in between May and June. And so those dates are forthcoming, but know that most of the documentation stuff that they'll go over and let you know about just the benefits like HR stuff will happen during orientation. Some of the things, just as a heads up, that the district does require very specific things. You got to sign in a certain way and fill out these things. Don't go over those things, but I want to give you a heads up that some of the stuff will be very structured in how you're going to do it. And we'll talk a lot more up to orientation and after, but I did want to give you a heads up about when you see things about district processing, it is just really getting all your paperwork. Even if you haven't been hired yet, you'll get all those things done because they're anticipating you being hired once you complete. All right, so a couple of things. What makes you eligible for hire in schools? What makes you eligible to teach for this 2022-23 school year? The main thing is getting your Praxis Core and Praxis 2 exams completed and done is the main thing. Once you've completed those tests, even if you don't have your transcripts in yet, you can start looking for a position now if those tests are complete. And then the last eligibility requirement is passing the pre-service training with us this summer. Those things get you ready to hire. So if you're registered for the pre-service training and have those tests done, you can start the hiring process. What are your responsibilities for becoming hireable? So completing the hiring application, completing your resume, getting your transcripts in a timely manner. Some of you have gotten contacted by John about getting your resume together and hiring application together. Getting those together early on are things that help you be ready to get hired once you complete the test. Even if you haven't completed tests, complete these tasks so that when you complete, you'll be able to be visible right away to principals for hire. You're going to secure your own position in your certification area. So principals will contact you for interviews. We'll set you up and send you to principals for interviews. There'll be job fairs and things of that nature that you'll be able to participate in over the next couple of months in order to be hired. What you're going to do is you're going to interview for that position and either accept or decline that position. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But like I said early on at the beginning, it's like the number one thing that you want to do is find a good partner school that you envision yourself making commitment to and the lifelong success of your students. Basically being in a great community settings for your development and your students' development. And then how will you know that you're eligible? I will contact you. I will send you out a thing to say, hey, you're eligible now. You'll probably get some information from principals. Some people that have been eligible or hire principals have been contacting them directly, but I'll also send out information to you. Like I said, there'll be job fairs, vacancy lists and things of that nature that will come your way once you are eligible after you complete your exams. I'm going to pause here and see, Brittany, is there anything here that you wanted to add? Good. All right, great. We'll go on to our next slide. All right, so I did mention that you're going to interview for your position in a school as you're going through the process. So some interviewing tips and just tips in general on kind of securing that position are just regular things that you would do in an interview, but there's a couple of things that I'll point out for a particular teaching position. Some of the kind of well-known things, being professional, dress and attire, Some interviews may be virtual, interviews may be in person. If you're doing a virtual, make sure you show up on the online platform on time, make sure your technology works, you're in a good area for internet and things of that nature. If you're doing it in person, arrive on time or early to your interview appointment. Be prepared. So research the school. All Baltimore schools have a website. You can research what their mission statements are, what the community is like, who the principal and leaders are. Make a list of questions that you want to ask. What's family engagement like? Community groups they have? How do they support first-year teachers? All these are great questions. You are interviewing your school as much as your school is interviewing you. And that's an important distinction to make. Talk about what excites you about teaching, what you are looking forward to learning, and what were you looking forward to in being a part of the school community. And take good notes. And from those notes, ask questions because it shows that you're paying attention and have an interest in the school. One of the things that I get, especially from people that have no school experience, is like, I don't have any school experience and I'm nervous about going in. There's some things that you can be confident about. The first thing is any skills that you have in any other careers or work that you've done, transfer. If you've led teams, if you have experience being a critical thinker or a planner, those are all things to talk about and be very confident about. But one of the biggest things that you want to lean on is your why. Why are you coming to teach? So I talk to people in my welcome calls, and everyone has a reason why they're coming to teaching. And everyone can talk passionately about that reason, whether it's to build community, to raise education standards for our students in Baltimore. Those things are important things to talk about and be confident about. That is what principals are going to look for. Our principals know that most of our residents don't have classroom experience and coming through the program. They know that you don't have a background in teaching from your resume, and that the fact that you are in a alternative cert program. What they're looking for is like, what are you going to bring to the community? What kind of energy, what kind of development, what kind of learner will you be in that space, and what will you give to those students in that community? And then also lean on BCTR's reputation. So we've been working with the district for over 20 years. Over 10% of teachers that are still teaching in Baltimore are BCTR teachers. Some of them are administrators, principals, and things of that nature. So we have a reputation of building great teachers that care about their students and schools and things of that nature. And then the last thing I have here is just be humble. They'll probably ask you, hey, how do you do lesson plans? Or what do you know, this technique or that technique? It's okay to say, I don't know yet, but that is why I'm in BCTR and I'm learning. I'm going to learn all those things. And I'm excited about being a part of the BCTR community. Those are all important things. But the main thing is be confident in the things that you know from previous jobs, but also be confident in your why and confident in the training that you're going to get this summer with 20 years of experience and staff that have a great variety and deep knowledge in teaching in Baltimore City. Brittany, I want to open it up and see if you can add some of the things from your experience to this.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Sean. I did just want to kind of reiterate and highlight what you said about it's as much about you interviewing the school as it is about them interviewing you. As residents, I've been in your shoes and we get really anxious to get hired and know where we're going. And I think what we really want to encourage you to do is really do your due diligence, take some time, ask those questions, be critical thinkers in those interviews, reach out to Sean and BCTR staff and anybody you know in the district. Make sure that you know what the school is about, what they offer, what supports they have for first-year teachers prior to making that decision. Once you sign that paper, there's not anything we can do. And I am somebody who jumped on the first offer I got, right? Which can end up being an amazing fit, but it also, if you haven't done your due diligence, might not serve your development and what you're looking for in the long run. So to Sean's point about this year, there are more positions opening than we've seen in many years, which means the ball really is in your court and you have the opportunity to be really strategic about where you end up. So interview that school as much as they're interviewing you. Ask those questions, make sure that the school aligns to what you're looking for and offers the supports you feel like you're going to need that first year prior to committing to anything or signing any paperwork.
Thank you, Brittany. And I did get a message from Brittany that I was going in and out, so I made a couple of adjustments. But Brittany, if I do go out again, just let me know if something needs to be repeated. And hopefully that adjustment is better for everyone. Thanks for sharing that. We can't stress enough about getting the right school community and working with the staff. I know it can be anxiety-producing interviewing for a position and changing careers and things of that nature. But like I said at the top, I think the job will come. It is more about getting you in the right place. You have to be at that school for 2 years. And if you're in a place that is not going to support you as much as it could or should, you want to make that decision. You're empowered to make that decision now before you sign a contract to move to a school. So you'll hear us say that a lot. So what do principals want to know? Some things, if you have transferable skills, if you've been in a classroom or subbed or tutored or things of that nature, definitely let the principals know those things. If you have deep knowledge of your content area, if you're biology and math, and you can display a strong knowledge of the content, those are great skills. Like we talked about earlier, any professional skills that you can bring over, leadership, organization, planning, motivating, those are all transferable skills. But the biggest thing is mindset. So like we talked about, your mindset's going to be the big thing. Are you a critical thinker? Are you committed to educational equality? Are you into being a teacher that makes a difference in a school community for those students, for that community? And are you going to be someone that is going to be able to take feedback and learn not only from your principal and fellow school leaders and fellow teachers, but from your students? You will learn a lot about teaching through your students and the feedback that they give you throughout your time in the building. And so the other thing that we want to point out is someone that builds relationships. Relationships are important in building a school community, not only with your fellow teachers and support staff and your administrative staff, but families and students and other community groups in the area. And then, like I said, being a constant learner is something that is going to be key, not only in your teaching career, but this summer, you will get a lot of feedback from coaches on things that you may need to change, may need to develop. Pre-service training is about helping you learn as much as possible in a short amount of time. And in order to do that, you're going to have expert teachers giving you a lot of feedback. It is not a personal thing. It is really about getting you to the goal that you are looking for, to be an effective and competent and confident teacher. I know that we're not really talking about PST here, but Brittany, can you talk a little bit about that, just mindset and what coaches are looking for and wanting to develop in our residents this year?
Yeah, absolutely, Sean. Thanks so much. And I love that you're touching on this mindset piece, right? And again, just want to highlight, we can get a little bit caught up over the summer of just having that anxiety around knowing where we're going in the fall. But really, as Sean stated, we really want you to be in the moment and be engaged during PST to get the most out of those 6 weeks. And as your coaches for the summer, what we're looking for is to see that constant learner, that person who is taking feedback, thinking critically about the skills they're trying to develop and applying that feedback in the classroom every day. It's really, really important that you kind of give yourself up to us for the summer so that we can do our best to prepare you for the classroom in the fall, because the work you put in during these 6 weeks can be really, really transformative in how your fall is going to end up going. So we're excited to have you. Bring that open mindset, bring that coachability, and you will soar this summer.
Thanks, Brittany. Move on. Second. Okay. So like I said, I am going to allow a lot of time here for questions because I know I get the most questions about hiring. Hiring is one of the issues that take a little more nuance explaining some time along with certification, but that's a conversation for another day. I'm going to start off going through a couple of questions here that I got through the registration form for this session. And then we'll have plenty of time to just take questions, Brittany and I, from you guys on the call. I'll start with a couple of them. So someone asked, what's the pay range for new professors or teachers? So pay range is in Baltimore is by a salary band. So there's no negotiating for salaries in Baltimore City Public Schools. But there's a salary band, and that the lowest end of the salary band is a teacher with no experience and a bachelor's degree, which is at least everyone on this call. Last year, the starting salary for that group was $50,568. Each year it goes up about $500 to $1,000. So I'm sure it's about $51,000 for this incoming cohort year. You can find the salary bands if you look up Baltimore City salary bands, and they have them. They may not have them for this year, but they have years past. If you have teaching experience in a private school as a teacher of record for 2 years or more, that will add additional money to your salary. If you have a bachelor's degree, it doesn't matter if it's in teaching. A master's degree outside of teaching, it could be in anything. They pay additional for masters and an additional for PhD. So definitely send those transcripts to us if you have masters, conferred masters and conferred doctor's degree. But basically you're looking about $51,000 for if you have no experience and your bachelor's degree. Someone asked, is it possible to be hired before obtaining certification? Yes. So like I said, hiring is open now. Anyone that has passed Praxis Core and Praxis 2 exams can be eligible for hiring and start interviewing for positions and be selected for positions before you've completed the training. So that is, yes, you just have to have your testing completed. Was the first start day of school? I believe this year we're starting the week before Labor Day. Usually in the past, it's been the day after Labor Day, and later Brittany can confirm that for me. A couple other questions here. Will they consider hiring a candidate with only one Praxis exam pass? That's a great question. So it is possible that they will open up hiring to additional folks that don't have testing or completed one testing. That is up to the discretion of the district. As we go further along into the hiring season, they may open it up that way for residents. To be honest, they've done that for the past couple of years and open it up, but it's usually towards the end of the pre-service training. But it is possible, but right now they are requiring both exams to be passed before going on to the hiring process. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to open it up for people. I'm going to stop sharing so we can see everybody's faces. And either in the chat or you can come off mute and go through and see if you have any questions for us, myself or Brittany.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, Jaquetta, and then we'll go. I see Kevin has his hand up after yours.
Oh, okay. So my question is concerning the assessment. I think that was on the application for the Baltimore City application. What is that assessment about? Like,
yes, so that is called the EPI test. The EPI test is a general assessment around general skills. It is not looked at by principals. It is not used in hiring. It is part of the package that the district has for the application. It has to be completed in order to complete your application, but it has no bearing on hiring. if that makes sense. If you look at it this way, it is part of the package that they bought that needs to be done in order to complete the hiring process. So that EPI test is not a graded test. It is not something that principals will go back or the district goes back. It doesn't have a bearing on your hiring. It is a requirement of the application portal to be done. Did that help? Okay. All right, we'll go Kevin and then David.
Hi, Sean. So I came across a couple of websites for schools, and they have like pages that say, if you're interested in applying for a position at our school, send us our resume. Should we do that, or should we wait until they contact us via the portal?
You can do that, but the thing is that they're going to have, if they contact you back, they're going to ask if you have, which you should have done through us. And then they're going to ask if you're visible in ATS, which if you passed all your praxis exams, you will be visible. If not, they will not be able to start an interview with you if you haven't completed the praxis test. So we kind of have that baked in our hiring process. But if you want to make yourself more visible by saying, hey, this is my resume, that's helpful to be more proactive. But if you haven't completed exams, you're not going to be able to go beyond that step.
Okay. So basically, if I have already completed my exams and finished my portal, then I can feel free to reach out to somebody's school?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Let's go to David, and then I think I have a couple of questions I'll get to on the chat.
Hi, Sean. My question is in reference to foreign graduates. I have a foreign medical degree. Also, I have some experience teaching, but in foreign schools. How are those assessed in the hiring process, specifically as it pertains to the salary bands that you were referring to earlier?
Well, I'll start with the foreign transcripts. So for all foreign transcripts, they have to go through an evaluation process. WES is the main one, but if you go look on the task for your enrollment task and click that link, it'll have instructions about getting evaluations and approved evaluators. So once it gets to the evaluation process, if that degree is still evaluated as a master's or a doctorate degree in the US, then that can be used as, that evaluation can be proof of your higher degree in master's or PhD, and they will honor that in a salary bump for yourself. For teaching wise on outside the US, that's a little more up in the air. So you can let me know that experience. I can present that to the district and they'll let me know if they'll accept it or not. It usually has to be full-time position in a public school or private school system that meets the same US standards. So that is something that the certification office will have to look at. But I'm happy to always present experience to the district as well.
Oh, okay, thank you. I'll get in contact with you to give you that.
Yeah, sure. I have here on the chat, if you have our master's, but we are a first-time teacher with substitute experience, we will get paid for that. So they will give you a bump in salary for your master's, but not for substitute. It has to be a teacher of record. And usually most people get that teacher of record in a school outside of being certified. I have here, first day of school is not posted yet. What can I tell? But likely August 29th. Yeah, so yeah, the first day of school will likely be like that last week of August or the first week of September. Is that about right, Brittany?
Yeah, I can't find the exact date. They usually have it posted by now, but it's usually that Monday before Labor Day weekend.
Someone's asking about counting teaching experience on a university level. They will not count university teaching experience towards experience for a pay bump in the private school, the private and public school setting in the district. We've had a lot of residents that transfer from teaching in universities, and they don't accept that. It has to be K through 12 teaching in as a teacher of record. Any other questions?
I had one more. About like the private school. So when applying, do they give you both the option to apply for private school and public school, or are we just like public school solely?
That's a great question. Yeah, so you're only going to be through our program teaching in public schools. You won't even be allowed to teach in charter schools in the district. And then also to their partnership schools that they want our residents to consider first, and that they usually want only our residents to teach at. And so I'll get that list out of like 160 schools. It's usually like 120 schools that are on the list that our residents can apply for. So that list is forthcoming. I just got that from the district yesterday. But yes, it has to be a public school in the district, not a charter school.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin and David, I just wanted to ask if your hands are still up, if you had other questions, or if you're.
I had another question. Will there be, is the finalized schedule for BCTR, including orientation and pre-service training, available yet, or is that still yet to come?
Yes, so the PST training is not the schedule, but like the timeline. So that's going to start on June 22nd and end on July 29th. Our orientation is going to be the week of June 6th. We're just waiting to hear back from venues before I send out the invite for that. So I have a meeting with about that tomorrow. So hopefully by the end of the week, I will have the exact days for orientation. Orientation will be 2 days in June. It'll probably be that Tuesday or Wednesday of June 6th or Wednesday or Thursday of June 6th. But that is forthcoming. But the dates for PST are June 6th to July 29th. The exact schedule is, I can give you a general schedule. Some of you already know this if you had a welcome call with me. So generally your first week is going to be just learning about lesson planning, classroom management, content, culture responsive teaching. That day is Monday through Friday, about 7 a.m. to about 6 p.m. The only thing that changes after that first week is during your second week, you're going to start what's called field experience, where you're going to be teaching a class. You'll have a coach teacher that will be with you, but you're going to be responsible for planning, leading, managing that class in the morning. The coach teacher is there to give you real-time feedback, to help you, to give you some coaching afterwards. They can help if you need it in the classroom, but the expectation is that you're going to be leading that class. And then you come back to the training school to continue your training up until about 5:30. And then the expectation is that evening, you're going to be training for your class for the next day. So most of our residents spend about 2 hours in the evening doing prep for their classwork in the next day. And that schedule goes all the way to the last day on the 29th of July. There'll be some different things where we'll do observations, and we'll talk more about that. But the schedule really is you teach in the morning, train in the afternoon, go home, and get yourself ready for the next day, and it's just on repeat all the way to the last day. Brittany is a PST veteran on all sides of the coin. Am I missing anything in terms of schedule?
And I just reiterated it in the chat so people had it in writing too. So.
Okay, cool. Awesome. And then also I am going to share a link. We have an information site. It has like the dates of PST, some frequently asked questions. I'm going to put that in the chat as well. Give me 1 second. And so like a lot of things, and you'll get to see our staff. We have bios of our staff on there as well. I will be updating this with orientation stuff as I get it. So this is going to be This website is going to be your home base for enrollment, but it's also going to transfer to be your home base for PST. So like all your PST information will be on the site as well. But this is a great place to just hang out and get information, and we try to update it on a weekly basis. Like I said, we'll have some updates to it this week, but information about hiring, resources, our staff, all those things. So I see 2 hands up. Let's go Samuel and Mira after Samuel.
Okay. Hello everyone. My question is, do I need teaching experience throughout this training? Because the reason why I'm asking this question is, I already had my conditional licenses in special education from Maryland Department of Education, and at the same time, that one was expired last year, and I taught in Ghana for 8 years, and I also taught in PG County for 2 years, and now I'm teaching as a substitute teacher in Anne Arundel County. So my question is, do I need to do the additional teaching practice, or yes, do I need additional, because the only thing that left for me to get my full license is I need 12 credit hours in order for me to get my full license as a teacher.
Yep. No, totally understand. So yes, you will have to do the full training with us during the summer. Even if you had teaching experience on conditional, you may be able to get a pay bump because of your PG County experience teaching on a conditional, but because we're preparing you for a state certification, there are certain things that you're going to need to do in terms of coursework and field experience that are unique to the program and how we've been certified to teach for our residents. So yes, you'll have to go through the whole program even if you have experience in other areas.
Okay. I used to going to use the evaluation that the Maryland Department of Education gave me, because they already evaluated my my education, my master's. I have 2 masters. They already did everything for me.
Yeah, if you continue to go on this, if you can continue to go get your certification on your conditional, you can do that. But that would be separate from if you get your certification that way, there would be no need for you to come into BCTR because it's a state certification alternative program. So if you do go the route of certifying with your conditional and kind of doing your credits that way, that is a path for you to do it. And that, depending on how much credits you need, you can get there maybe faster than going through our program. But that's something I'm happy to talk about offline, but that is a possibility if you're on a conditional. Yeah. All right, Mira, iPhone.
Okay, so I wondered, like, it said that we get a $6,000 like benefits or something. Is that during the teaching time or like during the class, I guess, in the 6-week period?
Yeah, so I think you're referring to, so each year we have different funders that give money to help teachers through. So this year we have a funder called the Black Educators of Excellence that have given us a private funder that gave us money for those funds. And so that does, for those that qualify, can get a stipend for the summer. It is not a part of your pay for the school year. So the school year is you're paid by your employer for that salary, like I talked about, at the very minimum of $51,000. The stipend is specifically for the summer. There may be some other stipends coming out for other folks that we're working on right now, but that one is available. And if you've gotten contacted from, we call it the BCTR, you contact that person and they'll be able to give you information more concrete, like what that's about and things of that nature. And so, yeah, that stipend is specifically for the summer training.
And also they said that they would pay for the test, but like I registered for the test because we were supposed to take it before and then it changed at the last minute. So will I get reimbursed for that exam that I paid for, or?
Yeah, so when that email that you got from BCTR, because they're a separate entity from what we're doing at BCTR, they would have to answer that question for you. You should be able to, but they can give you the specifics on that. And if you don't have that, I can give you their information to contact them after this call.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
We have time for a couple more questions. You can pop off mute. Kim, did you have another question?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up about my previous question. What would you recommend is the date that we should be in Baltimore City by?
That's a great question. For people that are outside of Baltimore, you should be here by the first week of June. Orientation will be this week of June 6th. And so that's going to be important for you to be in town so that you can do your fingerprinting. You can be with your cohort for that in-person training that we're going to do during orientation. That gives you a couple weeks before training starts to get acclimated if you're moving into a space or leasing or renting. Because once training starts on the 22nd, you won't have a lot of time to do a lot of other things. So June is ideally like the first week of June. It gives you a week to settle in, and then we're into orientation, gives you another couple of weeks to kind of settle in a little bit more, and then we're off to the races after that.
Okay, got it. Thanks. I also wanted to follow up on Mara's question. I wasn't sure what was being discussed, but what are some stipends or ways that we can offset the summer costs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there are some stipends for this private funder that gave us funds for Black educators to enter the field of teaching. And so this is the second year that they've given funds to that. So if you qualify for that, you would have gotten an email. If you think you qualify for that and haven't gotten an email me and I will hook you up with the right people. With that said, so that right now, that's the only one that's available. We're working on a possible stipend for anyone else that didn't qualify for the BEEC, but we're waiting to hear back from that private funder at the moment. But right now, the BEEC, which stands for Black Educator Excellence Cohort, is the only one that's available at the current moment. And then another thing I want to say in that email or that link to this information site that I gave you guys, under the frequently asked questions, there is a link to Teacher Props. So Teacher Props is a partnership that we work with here in Baltimore. They help teachers relocate to Baltimore City. They help with rents, getting acclimated to communities. They are teachers in Baltimore City. They do things like getting reduced rents for teachers, 1 month rent free for teachers and things of that nature. Even if you're not moving from out of town, this might be a good resource. I'm going to drop the link to that resource in there. They have been great partner with us for the past couple of years, and they really try to help teachers feel welcome to Baltimore City. So Kevin's question reminded me about that resource for anyone that's coming out of town. I know a few of you have already contacted them. And like I said, even if you're just looking to move and try to maybe get a better rate on the place, Teacher Props is an awesome group of people to work with. They are all Baltimore City teachers. They all work really hard to help teachers feel welcome, especially if you're coming from out of town. So Teacher Props is a great resource. I feel like I'm doing a commercial break here for Teacher Props, but they are awesome. All right, so Brittany, do you want to have any last parting words for our incoming 2022 cohort? What year were you, 2017?
Yeah, 2017. So not that long ago. Just want to, again, thanks, Sean, for letting me jump on the call. Thank you all for being here and being part of this process. We're so excited to get started this summer. And we really, again, to Sean's point, want to focus on your development this summer, but we also really want to make sure you end up in schools that are a good fit for you. So please make sure you're reaching out. Please make sure you're pausing, doing your due diligence and research before signing with any schools. And we're here to answer any questions you have. So welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here tonight. And we're looking forward to June.
Yes, and I want to just iterate, you'll hear us say this a lot. Please let us know. One of the things that once you do start interviewing, I require you to contact me before you accept a position. A lot of times you'll get, especially in job fairs, like they'll offer you a position and a contract right there. Please do not sign it. Please talk to us before you do that. You have 72 hours to accept or not accept. Before PST starts, I'm your point person. During PST, you'll have a whole host of wonderful coaches and people to bounce ideas off. They can tell you a lot more details about some of the schools than I can, because some of them have taught in those schools. But what I do is, one, make sure that it meets your certification area. That's important. Like if it doesn't meet your certification area, then it kind of nullifies your point of being certified in your content area. But also too, I can give you background on current residents that are there, what they're saying about the school, what our coaches say about teaching at that school or coaching at that school. And it can help inform you on if that's going to be a great space for you or not. So please talk to me first before signing, but let me know. I'm very curious to know about any interviews, any offers you've gotten, and I want to give you as much information about schools as possible before you make a decision. Because like I said at the top, the school jobs will come, but you have a unique position to choose your school right now, especially this year where a lot of schools need a lot more teachers than are available right now. And with that, I will let you guys go. Be looking out for some emails from me coming up in the next couple of weeks around orientation and hiring and things of that nature. And as always, if you have questions, let me know. And have a great rest of your evening. And I'll talk to you guys soon.
I have a last minute question.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, go ahead, Ferna.
Yeah, I have a last minute question.
Sure.
I was just, and I keep thinking about it.
Mhm.
I'm in Rochester, New York. I'm employed. I have a family.
Mhm.
And per what you said, we have to be there by like the week of June 6th, right?
Mhm.
So until now, I don't know what to do. So should I like let go my employer?
Well, I think that's something that maybe you and I should have a conversation with about. And it could be the situation where maybe you may defer to a different cohort year. And each individual person's situation is different. I don't want anyone to feel rushed to do it, but we do need people here by June for them to have a great experience with the program. So you can email me, Vernon, and I can set up a time that we can talk one-on-one.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Someone wrote they're in a master's program right now. If you're going to be in that master's program through now to the first of the year, I think you might want to consider which one you want to do. The training during the summer is incredibly intensive. It is going to be all encompassing. And your first year of teaching is going to be all encompassing. We've had people that have tried to do master's programs or doctorate programs during their first year of teaching, and they ultimately always usually have to pick one or the other. Unfortunately, it's a lot for the summer. All right, Christopher, yes, I see your thing. Just email me and I'll set up a time with you. All right, gang. Well, have a great night. And thanks again, Brittany, for jumping on. And we'll be talking very soon, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night.